What's up, guys? Jason of New 80's Revolution, right back here in the cave for part 5 of the Toy Room Tour. That's right, we're up to part 5. We've been moving along. We did that whole side of the room over there. Trust me, it's over there. We did this corner over here, which introduced to you a new show that you may have seen the trailer for, the teaser for Wrestling with the Past. Episode 1 coming up very, very soon. And by very, very soon, I mean I will probably begin watching the footage in like 2 weeks. And why 2 weeks? Well, because I'm in the middle of watching 1982. The good news for you guys is I don't have a ton of footage for 1982. So I'm already up to June. And I only have house shows. I don't have TV shows. So we're probably talking maybe 2 or 3 more Philly Spectrum shows, maybe 3 or 4 more MSG shows, and maybe 1 Cap Center show for 1982. And then I'll be digging into 1983 with y'all. So that's coming up very, very soon. We are to the part of the room now that really was the beginning of this whole channel. And I'm going to be talking about stuff that I've talked about a few different times on this channel. Many, many episodes dedicated to these guys here. So some of this might be a little bit of repetition for you. I'm not going to go into the history of the LJNs because that has been done before on at least 2 or 3 other episodes of mine. So I don't want to go back and just, review the history of, the Junkyard Dog or the history of Roddy Piper. I just want to show the figures. And then we're also going to hit up that shelf over there, which is kind of a collection of LJN Wrestling Superstars memorabilia and just other fun, good wrestling trinkets over there. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We'll talk about what that thing is up there. What is this? A couple of people have noticed some of my arcade toppers. That's actually an example of one without the plexiglass. I'll tell you the story behind that in a little bit. A friend of mine from here, Joe Smith, sent that to me as a gift, which was awesome a while back. So anyway, let's get right into it. What's coming up? I'll probably talk to you guys again before Chiller, because Chiller is in like a month from now. So I'm pretty sure that you'll see me again on here. But Chiller convention is coming up. I'm so excited about that. I was originally just going to go for 1 day, but I have decided to book my hotel for 2 days in a row. So I will be in Parsippany, New Jersey at the Chiller Theater Convention Friday and Saturday. And I think it's April 26th and 27th. I think let me just check. Chiller is April 26th, April 27th. Next month, the countdown is on. I can't wait. I'm actually leaving town here Friday at like noon. I'll get to New Jersey maybe 6:30. Check into the hotel. Get my drink on. And I'm actually, my photo op, my professional photo op with the one and only Jason Priestley is Friday night. So I'll get that out of the way. Just in case he doesn't get a little food poisoning, has to go home Saturday. I'm going to get him out of the way Friday night. Probably eat and drink until the wee hours of the morning. Go to bed, hit up Chiller all day Saturday. Wake up, get that thing going from beginning of the day to the end of the day. Just hit up all the vendor tables. There's going to be a ton of pickups for you guys to enjoy. And that is Chiller. So if anybody's going to be at Chiller, Parsippany, New Jersey, by all means, please come and say hello. Please come and hang out with me at Chiller. enough of that. Let's get to the collection. I'm going to go behind the camera. We're going to take an up close and personal look at these guys. And an up close and personal look at that shelf over there as we hit the 2019 Room Tour Part 5. I'll be right back. Whoa. All right, guys, there we go. You have heard me say it many times. This is, to me, the greatest action figure play set of all time. And yes, does it count as a play set? Well, to me it does. Guys, I'm talking about Castle Grayskull. I'm talking about the G.I. Joe Terror Dome. I'm talking about Snake Mountain. Whatever else came with any other figure line, they were good. Don't get me wrong, but to me, that right there is the greatest toy accessory or figure playset of all time. The Sling'em Fling'em Wrestling Ring from LJN. That is my childhood right there, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at what the back of the box looks like if you are so inclined. There we are. Beautiful. Beautiful indeed. Who are those two guys? That's what I want to know. Where are those two now? That is not Shane McMahon. I don't know who that is, but I want to know. All right. Moving along, you'll notice something different. Where are all my carded LJN figures? Well, guys, space. I need space. And those things were not easily displayed. They were very difficult to display, and they took up a lot of valuable shelf room. So what I did was I chose to display the first series. So my first shelf here in this sort of ladder of shelves is the first 5 LJN figures. To me, the true Series 1. But Jimmy Snuka, Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, and Iron Sheik alongside their loose counterparts. Now, where's Hulk Hogan, you ask? Where is my carded Hulk Hogan figure? Well, if you recall, that back at the Niagara Falls Comic-Con last year, the Nickel City Comic-Con last year in Buffalo, I met the Hulkster and got him to sign my LJN package, my carded Hulk Hogan figure. And that is upstairs currently on display in the New 80s Revolution Theater Room. Proudly sitting amongst the family. So that would be, so let's hit this up. What is that? Well, that is a present from my man Joe Smith. That is an arcade topper, and that's what I'm calling it. So when you go to the arcade, next time you're at the arcade, take a look at the top of the video game, and you'll see this thing up there. You'll see, usually behind some plexiglass, you'll see the title of the game, right? The topper. And this is from a wrestling game called The Main Event from Konami. That is an arcade topper. It is not in the plexiglass. It is actually just the plastic or it's like a thin plastic insert that would be behind plexiglass and then attached to the top of the video game. And I absolutely love these things. The Main Event was an interesting arcade game. It had like a Mean Gene Okerlund lookalike announcer on the side of the game. Just totally generic characters. I have no idea who these people are, but it was fun. And I think it was tag team. You got to do tag team wrestling in that game. All right, so moving down to this area here. This was a gift from a man, Ring Skirts. You have seen him leave comments multiple times in the comment section of my videos. But he is obviously a very talented person. And he made me this WWF Turnbuckle Pad. And that is absolutely one of my favorite items. Love it. All right, so moving down to shelf number 2, we've got, just go through the LJNs. You guys have heard the stories many, many, many times about my love affair with these figures. Why do I have 2 Bobby Heenans? Well, because one has a plain sweater, and the other has scrolls on his sweater. So that is the non-scroll variant Bobby Heenan. Moving along. Why do I have 2 Corporal Kirchners? Well, because this one is the very sought-after bearded variant. At some point in time, Corporal Kirchner was wearing a beard to the ring. And I don't know how it snuck into the LJN production line, but we've got, we actually have 3 variants of Corporal Kirchner. We have the babyface, we have the bearded version, and we have one that is just stubble, which means unpainted bearded version, which is just crazy to me. But it's out there. Like that Corporal Kirchner goes for, $20. That Corporal Kirchner, $120. Insane. We got our tag teams. Again, going through. These used to be in order as far as like series. Why do I have 2 Jimmy Harts? We got a variant here too. We have no Hearts on Megaphone. Hearts on Megaphone. Very simple variant. No real difference in value between the 2. You'll notice one of the stranger variants. The very well-known jobber S.D. Jones actually ended up with 2 figures. 2 LJN figures. We got the rest coming along here. And we finish it up down here. That is a Jack's $1 Million belt that I included with the LJN. And then we come down to the the next couple of mortgage payments down here. This is the Black Card series. All very expensive. Move the ring out of the way here. Those are not black cards, but these guys are. And by black cards, I mean this was the last series of LJNs that came out in 1989. And instead of being on blue packages like those guys, they were on black cards. So that is right there. That is where I spent, this position here was where I spent the majority of my childhood. This was the view from my eyes for most of my childhood, right here. This whole thing, this was my whole world right here as a kid. The LJN ring. Okay, so moving through the shelf. Let's see if I can pull a few of these things out of here without knocking anything over. We've got, you guys have seen these again on a previous video, but we've got the Wrestling Superstars Viewmaster set. You guys remember Viewmasters, right? Point that thing up at the sun and see some scenes. We're losing our soap here. I don't want it to fall down. All right. This is missing a soap because it just fell out of the package, but one of the stranger items that I've ever seen. The Wrestling Superstars decal soaps. Right? So these are legitimate soaps. In fact, I'll show you the one that just fell out of the package. It's soap, ladies and gentlemen. It's real soap. And you know what? It smells like soap. It smells like hotel soap. But what kid in 1986 wouldn't love taking a shower with the Hulkster? The Hulkamania workout set, right? This is a very, very small portion or piece of the Hulkamania workout set. This is actually just the hand grip set, which came with headband. That is in there. You may have seen it on previous episodes. But this was part of a whole Hulkamania workout line. All right, you had individual dumbbell sets, you had a barbell set, you had a jump rope set, and then you had like the big one where everything was all packaged together. The big giant Hulkamania workout set, and that is an absolute holy grail of mine. You see them at shows, they're about $300. I don't want to pay $300 for it, but someday I will own a Hulk Hogan workout set. This is one of my favorite items. I love the bendy cage match set. I love that ring, I love that cage, I love that box. And the year that I got the majority of my LJNs for Christmas, I got them all in a big giant, all in this huge stove box, you know, like the box that a stove or an oven would come in. And it was just filled to the top with Remcos and LJNs, and greatest Christmas ever. But on that Christmas Eve, I was allowed to open one present, and I opened this, the Wrestling Superstars Bendy's Cage Match Challenge, and I just love this thing. Show you the back. Look at that. I mean, you could like sit and stare at this all day. You know, this is just great. I mean, look at all these. Look at those guys. Look at those weird prototypes. Captain Lou with nothing on his shirt. You know, it's great stuff. Again, I could look at this stuff all day. Another box I love right here. The steel cage accessory box. Love that box. It's the French version or the Canadian version, which I don't love. I don't love seeing the French on the packages. It is what it is. I'm definitely not going to pay the price for a new box that's just from the US, but you know, this will do. This one is from Grand Toys. When it came out originally in like 86 or so, it was just LJN at that time in this area in the US. So obviously Grand Toys was still affiliated with LJN. That was the Canadian, I guess the Canadian version of LJN. I know my Canadian people will tell me what was up with Grand Toys, but there it is, the cage match accessory. You all know the story about this. If you're new to the channel, then the story behind the, I'm turning it around for you if you wonder what I'm doing. Look at that back. Really simple to put on the ring. There's your guys. No prototypes in there, which is cool. You always saw like a prototype on the back of the package, but those are all the released figures. Interesting, Elizabeth with no skirt on. Always wondered what was up with that. Somebody in the photography department having a little fun there. A little joke, a little ruse. And here is the bendy ring and cage. Oh, sorry, hillbilly. That is it. Let's take it down here, shall we? Oh, look at this thing. I just love this thing, and I love these figures. In fact, on like an LJN Facebook group, I mean, I brought up the idea that, you know, what if LJNs only made these, and that whole collection there originally, was this. Would we be just as happy? Would we have had just as good a childhood? And I think yes. I think I would have actually been fine if the Wrestling Superstar line was in bendy style, because these are great. I love these figures, and I love the ring, and I love the cage. So this, they're basically identical to the LJN counterpart. They're very, very, they're identical. They're the same mold, same figure. Hulk Hogan's a little different. Hulk Hogan's like more of a straight up, stand up figure. But anyway, love those. The Junkyard Dog is pretty interesting too. With the chain molded on, I like that. I don't know if that was the original idea for the LJN or what, but anyway, the bendy ring and cage, one of my favorite items. So then we get into just some random stuff here. The WWF Micro League, get out of the glare there, the Micro League Wrestling floppy disk for your, I don't know what, your Commodore. I'm not a computer guy, so I don't know what you would play this on back in the day. What does it say? I don't know, but it's kind of like one of the first video, WWF video games. There's that floppy disk. Pretty cool. I remember seeing this in a magazine and just thinking it's the greatest thing ever, because I thought that was the actual graphics of the game, when in reality those are just clips, and you sort of it's kind of like a role-playing game with clips tossed in. But still, I thought it blew my mind as a kid. Collection of cards and posters that we'll go through at another time. This is kind of a growing obsession of mine, completing the LJN poster line. So these, if you're not familiar, God, I hate that light. If you're not familiar, these are the posters that came with every figure. So an incredible extra bonus as a kid to have these all over your room, and I did. I just loved these posters. The artwork is fantastic. These were, just as exciting as the figures themselves were the posters. And I'm starting to collect these. Stretch wrestlers. I've only got a few of these. Kind of a, well, patterned exactly after the Stretch Armstrong concept. Well, we lost some powder there, but the stretch wrestlers were, stretchy Stretch Armstrong type wrestlers or figures that you could bend and stretch. The original, marketing for the LJNs, and you can see it on the package there. Twist 'em, turn 'em, wrestle 'em. Well, I remember that one of the, as a kid, one of the early backlashes against these figures from like Consumer Reports, or, back in the day, Consumer Reports was the way to find out if, a product was doing what it was doing what it said it would be doing. And Consumer Reports was unhappy at the twist 'em, turn 'em line, because they thought, that's not true. These things don't bend. You can't twist them and turn them. They're solid chunks of rubber. So maybe that's why we got the bendy line. And maybe that's why we got these god-awful stretch wrestlers. So that you really could twist them and turn them. 2 out of 3 of these boxes are empty. And the Junkyard Dog one has a hole in it and powder leaks everywhere. These are expensive. There's like 6, 7, 8 of these in the collection, or in total. And they're expensive. If I see it, it's got to be like a, $50 and I'll grab it. But usually these go for well over $100. and people are listing them for close to 300. But I don't, I got 3. I'm good. Down here we got some fun stuff to show you. I told you I'd show you everything that I had. This is a Rocky eraser, and I just found out the other day that this came in a 2-pack with Drago, which blew my mind. I had no idea. But this is a cool little Rocky eraser. I love this. This is where I keep my AWA Hulk Hogan figure. And I shouldn't even call him AWA Hogan. He's Remco Hogan. This was from the Remco. This is a Thunder Lips figure from the Rocky line, actually, which we'll show you. But you remember Hulk Hogan as Thunder Lips in Rocky. So this is the Remco Thunder Lips figure, and obviously he fits very well with the AWA figure. So some people say that this is the AWA Hogan. But it came in the line with these guys. The Rocky Balboa Remco action figures, which I love. Love these things. We got Apollo. We got Mr. T, Clubber Lang, Pity the Fool, Pity the Fool. And we got the Italian stallion himself, Rocky Balboa. Love, love, love these guys. This is the championship belt that actually came with those figures. It's broken on one end, so I can't actually strap it to the figure, but that's the championship belt. Oh, we got some mugs. We got the JYD mug. We've got the Good Guys mug. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Junkyard Dog. But we also got the bad guys on the other side. Love it. Love these things. We got some buttons. Just some random 80's WWF buttons. We got a couple of tapes. We got the Hulkster Hulk Hogan VHS tape. This is actually a tape that I rented many, many times in the past. It's like 90 minutes of Hulk Hogan matches. Good stuff. All Hulk Hogan VHS, a very early Coliseum video release. Very early. This is like 85. Very early 85. They put this out. That's not true, because I think he takes Kamala. He fights Kamala on this, so this might be 86. This is a little past my area of interest, or era of interest, but I don't know. This was at a thrift store for like 99 cents. I just couldn't leave it behind. Wham Bam Body Slam. I don't know. This might even be trade bait if anybody wants this. I'll send it to you. Wham Bam Body Slam. Again, if anybody wants that, let me know. This was a gift from my man Xavier. What's up, Xavier? Hulk Hogan highlights. This is mostly AWA material. Very cool stuff. 30 minutes of clips from Hulk Hogan's AWA matches. More mugs. These are giant steins, giant beer steins of Hulk Hogan on there. These are some bulky glasses. A couple of things I've showed you in the past. Some arena binoculars. Right? You go to the arena, your mom buys you the general admission tickets, and you're up in the nosebleed section where all the teenagers were smoking some kind of weird smelling stuff. Those are my memories from house shows. So you get these binoculars and you could see the action. My Hulk Hogan camera. No, it's not digital. Got to put some film in there. Moving along to a couple of my favorite items. And favorites, I mean nostalgia's sake, right? Championship belts. Look at these Look at these foam plastic championship belts. Why are they special to me? Well, because when I was a kid, I would make my championship belts out of poster board and construction paper and tape. And so I would, you know, a couple times a month or so, I'd be making a new championship belt. And so, you know, I always wanted my own belt. And when they started making these, even though they're horribly cheap and actually kind of small for a kid even to wear, I thought that they were the greatest thing in the world. I no longer had to make my paper belts because I had a foam one. But really, really cool. I mean, I don't like the gray and the brown straps, but you know, my favorite's the tag team because it actually looks like the old WWF tag team belt, but I don't like the gray strap, but whatever. What am I complaining about? Love those belts. All right. Random stuff. Very random stuff. I got an old pack of wrestling cards, a little bit more modern. My little collection of LJN profile cards. Yeah, just grabbing those whenever I see them. Got an old Rock and Wrestling cartoon towel. It's like a hand towel. You know, very, very random item. I forget where I got that. I think somebody sent it to me. But just another random item. Your WWF tablecloth for your child's birthday party. Now this, I was very tempted to bring this out for my 6-year-old's birthday, but it's got to stay in the package. Imagine coming down the stairs for your birthday and having that on the old table. Great stuff. All right. This is a complete set without stickers of the WWF Wrestling Cards of the 80s. Loved these things as a kid. Loved these things as a kid. Your wrestling cards. Going for... Whoa. What's going on there? Going for the pin. And you got a little story on the back. But then, like these cards, you know, was like a spotlight because you had the guy and then got his stats up here. Chief J Strongbow. Love these. And they came out, you know, they had stickers in every pack, and you put the stickers together and it makes a Hulk Hogan poster. And I'm pretty sure they came out with 2 series of these. I'm pretty sure they had an 85 and an 86 series. Move those along. All right. A couple more items here on the shelf. This is one of my favorite little items that I have, the Hulk Hogan watch. Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine would have these advertised. I never actually saw these advertised in WWF magazine, and you'd really think they were, but I saw these in PWI, and they had like 5 or 6 of these character watches. But this is the Hulk Hogan one, and it's in its little package there. I love these. Love them. A couple more really interesting items. I really like these too. These are erasers. The Rock and Wrestling cartoon came out with their own figures, but they ended up being erasers. So, love these. These are actually very rare and very pricey. the Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik we see all the time. So they're not as pricey. But when we get into like the Roddy Piper, the Wendy Richter, the Junkyard Dog, we're talking some serious money. For an eraser, guys. Serious money for an eraser. When would you ever thought that you'd pay money for an eraser? This is a loose Jimmy Snuka eraser. Actually, an incredible figure. I actually really like this figure. But as I've said in my previous videos when I was first talking about these, I haven't talked about this guy in like 2 years since the channel began. But I never had these in school. But could you imagine, going to school with a Hulk Hogan eraser, an Iron Sheik eraser, a Jimmy Snuka eraser? That'd have been like the greatest day of school ever. I would have gotten nothing done. I would have sat at my desk and actually just, played wrestling with my erasers. Great stuff. Again, this is kind of the shelf of cool little things. The jacket clip-ons. You can clip those on your zipper, on your jacket, or on your pants, I suppose, if you really want to have some fun. Just awesome. Just so... I keep saying random, and I don't like to keep saying random, but... I mean, man, did they really just capture the market here? Like, kids would have bought anything that had anything to do with wrestling, including jacket zipper clip-ons. They also, which I just found out from that LJN group that I'm a part of on Facebook, there was a Big John Studd jacket zipper clip-on. And I did not know that. Or at least I didn't remember that. Maybe I knew it at some point, but I forgot it. So why, you got to get the single, you got to get the zipper clip-ons on single card, and then you got to get them on a 2-pack, or else you're just not a collector. All right, moving along. I'm going to have a mess to clean up. Moving along, a couple of carded thumb wrestler packages. Again, really, really gripping the market here. Good stuff. Put them on your thumb, have a wrestling match. And they grouped all these guys in like these random 2-packs. So the Dog and Nikolai, Junkyard Dog and Roddy Piper. I've got Hogan and Studd. And I've got Hogan and Nikolai. They're all pretty common, but there are 2 thumb wrestlers that are pricey. There was actually a Jake the Snake and a King Kong Bundy thumb wrestler, which grab about $125 each for just these, goofy little thumb wrestlers. Could you imagine paying $125 for one of these? Jake and Bundy. But they will be mine someday. I will get me a Jake and Bundy thumb wrestler. There's also a Ricky Steamboat thumb wrestler, which is, not rare and not pricey, but, I probably wouldn't pay more than $5 for any one of those. I might pay, $7 for a Ricky Steamboat. All right. Some more little carded goodness. The Wrestling Superstars Bendies line. Again, one of my favorite LJN lines. The Bendies. Now here's where we get into the prototype goodness. Every one of these practically is the one that wasn't released. Bobby Heenan. Camera's not focusing, but look at that. Every George Steele apparently had to have chest hair, but never was released with chest hair. That Brutus Beefcake had a completely different outfit. I don't know what's going on with that Corporal Kirshner. Jesse's head is tilted to the side. That wasn't, that's pretty cool. Good stuff. Andre the Giant. The Iron Sheik in terrible, terrible condition in the package. And yes, it was $1. It was that bad. I think I've even like stapled the card on because it was just miserable. Nikolai. Got our Nikolai Volkov. We got our Roddy Piper on a crappy card, taped on. And we got our JYD on a crappy card, taped on. But that's okay. Alright. Continuing on, we're down to the last little shelf here, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. A couple of people have asked me about this, and it's broken, which is a shame. But that is a plexiglass arcade topper for one of my favorite arcade games of all time, Mat Mania. This is actually the second version of Mat Mania, the Mania Challenge. Dropped a lot of quarters in that game as a kid. And this is the plexiglass. And unfortunately, there was like a hairline crack in it when I got it. And it's just spread, and it's fallen a couple of times, and it's sad, but it's a little damaged here. A lot damaged, actually. So, silly randomness. Wrestling notepads. You know, got to get your school supplies going. So kids, bring your notebook to school, write down your homework with Paul Orndorff. I love these little things. Best part is they were sold at Lionel Kitty City for 49 cents each, which actually kind of seems a little pricey for 1985 or 86. 49 cents is pricey. My puzzles, my Wrestling Superstars puzzles, very cool. I like these. Got Lou Albano. You got the Good Guys. And this one is from Kmart. $2.37. Now that sounds about right. You got your Hulk Hogan puzzle. And then, well, you got your Hulk Hogan in action puzzle, and then you got your Hulk Hogan puzzle. Now my kid actually tried putting this together, and it's missing a piece. One little piece. The Hulk Hogan puzzle is missing. Brought us all to tears. Cups from, I don't know. I don't know where these are from. Doesn't say. Oh, 7-Eleven. Big Gulp. Now this was when times were good. You walk into a 7-Eleven, get yourself a Big Gulp, and you bring it home in one of these plastic, right? Good plastic, guys. These are collectible cups of the WWF Superstars. Nikolai Volkov, Randy Savage and Elizabeth. Very strange picture of Ricky Steamboat. We got your late, great King Kong Bundy. We got the Hulkster. We got Paul Orndorff. We got your Wendy Richter. The JYD. Iron Sheik. And a bug. And Roddy Piper. And not to be outdone, the WCW, the NWA, also put out some cups. These were for I said. Oh, these are also Big Gulp, 7-Eleven, but promoting the Great American Bash at the New Jersey Meadowlands in 1991. We got the Stinger. We got the Nature Boy. Yeah, at one point in time, in 91, the slogan for WCW or NWA was "We Wrestle." Very creative. We wrestle. because at that time the WWF was very cartoony and very silly, and so we wrestle over here in the NWA was the motto. And this is your speaking of we wrestle, here's your Elegante cup, one of the worst wrestlers of all time. Tucked deep in there is the Galoob, I think it's 16-inch or 14-inch giant wrestling figures. Lex Luger and Ric Flair are back there. And that is that. Give me a second and I'll come around and talk to you again. Whew, all right, we went on and on and on, another good 40 minutes or so about the favorite part of my collection. And so I hope you enjoyed that. We will be continuing to make our way around. We've got some more figures to look at. We've got the AWA Remco figures to look at. We've got the Remco AWA ring and cage, a couple of different play sets there. We've got the whole Hasbro line to look at, ECW line, the Galoob line, the San Francisco Toy Makers line. There's a whole bunch of wrestling figures over there that we got to talk about that we have talked about in other shows. But again, this is the complete toy room tour, and then we'll make our way around and keep going. Hope you enjoyed. Again, Wrestling with the Past is coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll get part 6 of the toy room tour going soon. Again, thanks as always. Thanks again as always for hanging out with me. And again, if I see any of you at Chiller, that would be great. Come say hello. If not, and until then, good night now.